Talking about after that eyes, Chelsea were brought back down to it. I'm talking about that draw against the Crystal Palace in March the one. Yes, it was a disastrous outing for Chelsea based on their own standards. But good. It was really good for Crystal Palace. At least they showed that yes, they are not here to make the numbers in the EPL, and showing that winning the FA Cup and defeating Liverpool in the Community Shield wasn't a fluke. But was that draw a simple? Was that was that draw simply a case of fatigue after international travels, or does it expose deeper tactical issues at Chelsea?
For Chelsea to lose again, I mean
to play out a draw against
no,
Crystal Palace.
but what it means is, like I said, the EPL is a very difficult tournament to play. It's a difficult competition. It's going to be a season-long competition, 38 games, but we know you have to take each game at a time. And you're talking about teams that are technical. What's Chelsea's history versus Crystal Palace? If you look at their last 4 encounters against Crystal Palace, I don't think they have a win record more than Crystal Palace. That's looking at the last 2 seasons versus Chelsea. So they've always been a difficult nut to crack for Chelsea. And Crystal Palace is not a lowly team right now. On the log table, they are top 10. And in terms of FA, they defeated a strong team at the final to win the FA, Man City, and they also defeated Liverpool to pick the Community Shield. So coming from the Community Shield and the FA, what do you expect from Crystal Palace? Crystal Palace is going to go all out with that confidence that if you can beat all these giants, City out to get the trophy, Liverpool out to win another silverware, then who's Chelsea?
Wow.
So I'm even surprised they didn't score against Chelsea at all.
Yeah, they actually put the ball into the back of the net, but
it was
Rule Law 13 of FIFA actually, of IFAB actually, the goal actually contravened that, and that was why it was actually removed. Because there was always supposed to be a 1 meter gap between the wall and the opposing player. So the captain Gueye had to push in the Chelsea defender beyond that 1 meter line. So that was why that goal didn't stand for Crystal Palace. Okay, straight away to Paulo. How much pressure does dropping early points put on Chelsea in a season where expectations are already sky high for the Blues?
Well, it's a very disappointing one that Chelsea dropped point there, and it now depends on what the target is for Chelsea. I was in the studio here about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I said, I talked about if you really want to challenge for the league, you can't afford to start dropping point early, because the league now, you look at teams, they've all strengthened, and now for you to win the league, you need to make sure you gather those points. But it's still early days, but Chelsea can't afford to drop any more points as it stands now, because you look at teams now. I don't know that's why I say
so everybody goes 38 games without losing, right? Without drawing a game. Without losing or drawing.
I'm not saying no.
That's what you're making it look like.
What I said is that if you are
like I don't understand. I don't understand the language.
You can't afford to drop. To me, I think that point they dropped that it was unnecessary.
Was unnecessary.
Yeah.
I'll be here in the studio during Arsenal Crystal Palace.
Well, now, yeah. Let me just put in a word. Let me just put in a word to that. As much as Paulo has his own reason for choosing that opinion, it totally contravenes everything in league. You have 38 matches to play and so much points up for grab. If you put 38 by 3, you're talking of about 140 points up for grab.
Nobody finishes with 140 points.
Excuse me. In 2008,
maybe that's why Arsenal has not been able to win the league for 21 years.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
We've been finding it difficult to beat those teams.
In 2008, Barca under Guardiola lost their first match against Numancia, newly promoted Numancia, the very first match, and they went on to win the league with 90-something points that same season. They won treble, they won sextuple that same season. So that they had a draw, they didn't even lose. It was a draw that Chelsea played, and they're playing Crystal Palace. We knew it was always going to be a banana peel for Chelsea. You've always known that. In fact, like I told you, I expected Crystal Palace to put in a goal and then Chelsea will start scrambling to equalize. That's how tough I expected that game to be. But it didn't go that way. 0-0 was a good outcome, if you ask me, especially coming from the Club World Cup and all the hype that Chelsea has. Everybody's going to look at the Chelsea club differently now They're not going to play them as they played the last year Chelsea. They're going to play them like World Club champions, which makes it difficult more for them. They know Cole Palmer more. Now they study him, they study their players. Estavio, Joao Pedro, they're going to be studying all of them like they study these giant footballers now, not like former Chelsea. So it's going to be more difficult for Chelsea.
Okay, we'll move on to squad depth and rotational concern at the Chelsea. All the story is still based on the Stamford Bridge Club. Chelsea's summer spend this period means squad depth is not an issue right now, but balancing and rotating might just be the problem. And Paulo, do you think Enzo Maresca can realistically keep all his new signings happy, or with this create dressing room tensions or seasons on foot?
Yeah, he has to find a way to keep them happy, because we saw against Crystal Palace. It started with João Pedro. Later on, he had to withdraw him for Lian Delap, and I think the other new signing also Jeremy Gittins. Starting also Steve coming. I don't think there's any other new signing that didn't play apart from probably Esugo, and we understand why, because I think Esugo will definitely have playing time hard to come, because for him to take away a player like Moses Caicedo, for him it will be a very it's going to take time for him to blood. He needs to find a way, like you said, to keep them happy, but at the same time, if he continues rotating them like that, I don't think there will be any issue. The next match we might be seeing Leandela starting, probably playing what's the other guy, João Pedro, more deeper role, because there are some people that have said he should be playing Palmer from the wing, then allowing João Pedro to play as the number 10. But I don't think that might happen, but because you have Estevo that can also play from the wing. But at the moment, I don't think there should be any complaint from the Chelsea new signing, because just they won, all of them, almost 90% of them have tasted the Premier League action.